All right, we are live again con voi, con te Gnomo e con te Nandù.
Con voi?
Convoy.
All right, so we are here for our 25 episode, and I'm already seeing people joining our live stream. Today we have a special topic connected with Falco and his friends. So the aim is to deepen together who are these friends, what relationship they do have with humanity, with Damanhur, with us, and how these friends can help us in our spiritual evolution, in our personal journey of personal growth. So I will directly begin asking to our Gnomo, when we talk about friends, these friends of Falco, who they are. If you can help us to introduce this kind of friends, and then of course Nandù, with all your experience, you can add something more, and we can begin our talks as always. So Nyam, if you want to begin, we can begin with you.
Okay. So, in this case, in this kind of focus, when we talk about the friends of Falco, we're talking about a list of many different kind of entities, different kind of intelligences, not only from other worlds, from aliens, but also from the planet Earth. But we, in general, talking about a vision that is quite usual in the enlightened people, where the world is full of many different kind of intelligences, many different kind of different entities, other entities that they are intelligent, where we can create a relationship. So in a nutshell, we can say that the world of Falco was a huge world, full of many different kinds of opportunity to have agreements. Sometimes, or maybe with some special, maybe there is some chat open.
Maybe there are
Sometimes
some friends talking with us.
San Francis was sending a message to us. Sometimes some of these entities, they literally create an agreement with Falco in order to have a sort of exchange of solutions, potentials, different kind of tools able to help Damanhur, Falco and Damanhur, to achieve the aim of Damanhur, so to evolve. So a sort of a relationship between different people in terms of, species, that they have the same goal, or they are collaborating each other in order to achieve a certain goal.
So thank you, Nyomo. And Nandù, would you like to add something about it? So, in your experience, I know you have a great experience with these specific friends that we call spirals. And if you would like to introduce these friends and tell us more about them. Your
Your
microphone
microphone is off.
is mute. You are muted.
Oh, okay. Now, so first of all what Nyomo mentioned, it's like, it looks like a lot of beings in our universe are already cooperating somehow together, working together, and it's us that needs to jump into the game again and to be more connected to the plant world, to the animal world, to the spirit world, and to all these invisible beings. And that some of them can have a visible representative on our earth. That's like the spirals. Yeah, so we can build stone spirals, but actually it's not the stone spiral that is actually in communication with us. It's the bigger spirals of the galaxy and the spiral principle that is actually getting in communication with us. So this is important to understand that when we talk about the spirals, yes, Damanhur has loads of spirals. It's like, I think in Damanhur itself, in northern Italy, in the first city, we have around 100 spirals all together with the ones of the circuits. And in the world, in more than 50, 54, 55 countries by now, we have spirals activated by Damanhur. So all these spirals, they have many different functions that we need to learn to use. Because by now, most people, nice, a spiral. Everybody likes to walk a spiral. Every child sees a spiral and wants to run it. It's like, yeah, but it's not only about walking a spiral. To get the real benefit of this alliance, let's say, with the spirals, there is a little bit more that we have to know about. But maybe we go also to the story of how the first spiral came to us.
And I think about this story, Nyomo can tell us a little bit. So, but I ask you to both of you. I mean, now to Nyomo, uh, when because you talk about the spirals, but maybe the people that are listening to you they don't really know what we mean when we talk about spirals. So, Nyomo, introducing the story of the first spiral, if you can help us also to understand more about these beings, but also how in Damanhur we have created a relationship with this being in the matter, in the form, in the daily life.
Mhm. First of all, the Madurians knew the story about the very first spiral only when Falco chosen to publish his own biography. Okay. Um, I remember very well that period because he asked me to help him to publish that book. I was still working on the newspaper, and he started to publish several different chapter of the book in our newspaper as articles. And the very first was the the story about this first meeting. He was a child. He was very young, and this first meeting was something like, a sort of meeting between two very different species, a sort of chord or a sort of spin that suddenly suddenly appeared in front of him as a sort of mirror of Falco, sort of other side of Falco. Okay, so this was the very first moment we started to know about um, self that was not in the meaning of Selfica, okay, as a technology, but like entity, or imagine a sort of super alien, someone that from very far, was communicating with Falco to say, "Hey, friend, remember you have a mission." A sort of recall, sort of remembering about something that he was in this life going to continue to start again. Was not an anthropomorphic shape, was literally with the shape of a spiral, and was something that was appearing and disappearing in several moments of the year according to the different kind of moon, according to different phases, and also according to the different step of reawakening of the young Falco, the young this child, this boy.
Okay, thank you, Nyomo. And what about now in Damanhur? So from that story, from that day, till now, what happened, what has changed, and what we are doing now with the Selfica and with all these beings.
You
Nandù,
asked
if you,
Nyomo
yeah,
or?
no, you can, no, you can answer.
Mhm.
Let's go with the flow about it. Yeah, but you can begin.
Yes. Okay, so from a certain moment on, when Damanhur started physically in the Valkyusela, they started to build the first spiral. And from that first spiral, many others followed. Yes, as I said, there are by now around 100 spirals already here. And the thing was like to walk the spirals and to get the benefit of this walking the spirals as a first experience, because the spirals, as we walk them, the activated spirals, and we have to talk about this. What does it mean to activate a spiral? What's the difference between any kind of spiral or a Damanhurian activated spiral? But the Damanhurian activated spirals, when we walk them, they massage our energy bodies. They have a strong impact on our energy field. And it's to do with this that also we are made from spirals. I mean, the spiral is the main shape of our universe. And like there are galaxies that are spirals. And we see the spiral as a principle of life and death and the whole process in between of evolution in mirrored in all creation. We can see it very clearly in the plants as they grow. You know, a little germ, when you see it in slow motion growing, it's actually spirals up as it grows. And the patterns in plants are always in spirals. Animals, when they sleep, they make a spiral. And yeah, we see the spirals also in seashells, in tails of animals, and it's everywhere present. And in technology, we copy that. How many things in technology are done on spiral? Yeah. So the spiral is actually omnipresent in our life. We are not always aware. We even make spiral noodles, you know, and a lot of decoration with spiral to remind us that this is a very important principle and symbol for us, for our life. So this, even our body, we have so many spirals in our body, and in our ears, the cornea, the fingertips, the hair wool, all our bone and muscle structure is actually built up in a spiral way. So it's logical that we respond according to the law of respondence and resonance also to spirals when we walk them. And as we walk them, our energy bodies get really, as we walk in, it's like getting stretched out. As we walk out, it's getting compacted again. But this is a process that is very similar to our breath, actually. So there is actually the secret also of walking the spirals and the functioning of the spirals. Because what is the breath? We are like in a symbiosis with the plant world, with our breathing. But in the same way, we are also in a kind of symbiosis with the spiral beings. Like when it's a matter of breath, but in that sense, it's even something temporal. It's not just an exchange of gas and information. It's also really something that is like enlarging our temporal space-time presence. So it goes into very complex issues of our life, actually, when we look deeper into the spiral relationship with us.
Someone is asking if they are able to heal us, if they are connected with also healing.
Uh, we have to, once we build and activate a spiral, we need to observe the effects it has on us. The spirals, they have different functions. All of them give a massage to our energy bodies and can give us a different relationship to our time-space perception. And the more we actually enlarge our sensorial perception, the more of the effects of the relationship between spirals and us we can actually perceive and gain. So there are definitive healing spirals, but from my experience, there are spirals that have different functions as well. And many of them we still have to research. They are not all the same. There are spirals, when you walk them, you get very strong dreams. They really enhance your dream life. There are other spirals, when you walk them, I get from spiral own guardians, I get many times feedbacks about how they perceive their spiral. Some, they say, my spiral opens the heart. It opens the heart. People get very happy when they walk my spiral. Others, they are very good to give answers to your inner questions, they like amplify. They are an amplifier for this place within us where we know the answers. And when we ask the questions, we can get answers. And other spirals, they have also functions for the planet. So all this is very little researched, actually. This is a big field for the future in my consideration, to get a deeper insight into these different functions of the spiral and how we can use them in their full potential. There's something very interesting. Falco said we use the spirals in the moment like indigenous people that first time come in touch with electricity. They don't know what it is. So maybe they discover one time, we can put a light bulb on it and we have light. Maybe they discover that it can produce heat. I mean, just as electricity can give us so many different functions how we can use it, he told us the spirals are just like that. It's like we can use them in so many different ways, but we have to research to find it out.
Thank you, Nandù. Thank you so much. Nyam, I have a question for you. According to the Damanhur view, philosophy, and experience, what role does humanity play among these galactic creatures that we are talking about? What is our role in this picture?
I think you will not like my answer. Our role is to be an experiment. Human being is a sort of experiment in a laboratory. The laboratory is the planet Earth, and many species they are involved in this story, in this sort of test, huge test. The idea or the project was to bring together in the same species a sort of idea of collectiveness and ego. So us and me in the same species, or if you prefer, to connect together vegetarian and people and animal that eat not vegetarian meat. Thank you very much. So a sort of hybrid. We are in a hybrid, also because of a mix of different species that they are designed human beings. We are the end of a long story of different mixing between species. So usually the relationship is not something we used to control. For a lot of time, this kind of relationship was more than a relationship, was a control that many species they were applying to human being. Actually, also today we are still in some way used by other intelligences. We don't feel we are used. We feel to be the owner of our destiny. But actually, if we look at many choices we do, if we look at the history of humankind, it's very clear that we are always moved by something on someone. I don't want to be um, I don't want to enter into the topic of um, completisms. I think that this is quite normal for every species that is trying to evolve. We have to pass through different level, and so I think that for the very first time, listening to the storytelling of the self and the connection with itself, we are talking about an attempt to create a balanced relationship instead to have someone that is controlling or using someone else. So a sort of a real agreement, a sort of real relationship. From the story we knew, from the many lessons that we received from Falco, this is the result of a work, a very long work, a very long challenge that few very important people on planet Earth, masters, they did in the story, in the history of humankind, in order to rebuild the pride, to rebuild the knowledge of human being, in order to start again to talk with other species as in balance, instead to be always someone that it's used.
Thank you, Gnomo.
You're welcome.
I appreciated your answer, and of course, it opened up to a lot of other questions. And in this case, I always remind to the people that are listening to us that we have done already 25 episodes. So if you want to deepen some of this topic, you can go back to the others and watch the titles and start to study from them. Then, here in the description of this video, below, you will find all the links to connect with us, to come to visit us, so then experience the spirals, getting to know us, but also doing our courses. And because if you are interested and you feel connected with all this topic, there is the chance to, of course, deepen what we are saying. Nandù, I have a question for you, just coming from our friends that are following us. Is a spiral the same thing as labyrinth? Ta-na-na-na. But what?
Let's say a labyrinth is an extended version of a spiral. It's a more complex extension of a spiral, but it's in its essence, it's similar to a spiral. It's more. It has a more precise function because it's the way it's done with its geometry and numerology is still different than just a round spiral. So the functions can be more determined by a labyrinth. I would like to tell something else to the question before that just came to me, whether the spirals are healing. Because what does it mean, healing? Healing in a way, it means to become more whole in first place, not just to get rid of some symptoms that are unpleasant. In a sense of becoming more whole, the spirals for sure are an instrument that help us to become more whole. Yeah, it's like, if I just give this example, this is, by the way, the book where the first spiral, the birth of the first spiral is explained. So we always think of ourselves, that's me. Like we say, okay, this is Nandù Moringa, that's me. But actually we are that. And we are all of that. So what the spiral does, it opens up the book of our existence in a way as we walk it, and getting more insights into when we walk the spiral with very open senses, using really all our senses in a way that our inner senses can awaken and kick in, we can really get insights into our inner personalities. That's another topic that might be needed to explain, into our past lives, future lives. I mean, when in my experience of walking spirals, they are just so amazing. I could write a book about my spiral experiences, so rich they are, in what I can perceive, how this relationship grew between me and them, and how my faculties, also my medianic faculties, enhanced by walking the spirals and working with the spirals. And I think the more complete, the more of our potential we start to use, the more whole we become. And that's healing for us in a way. And also to get insights, just a meditative way of walking the spiral with open senses. Or maybe really with the question also of the underlying reasons of what can I change in my life to give a change also to what my body is expressing right now in uncomfort. So yes, we get sometimes very deep answers when we walk the spirals, very existential.
Nandù, is it possible to create a spirals in my own garden, or I'm living in Canada and have a beautiful park in front of my house? How it works to create a spirals somewhere in the world? If you can, in a nutshell, explain to us.
Yes, yes. We are happy to build more spirals and to activate more spirals. The more spirals we have in the world, the better, I would say. And the thing is, it's not such a good idea that you live alone and you have a spiral for yourself in your garden. That's not exactly the idea. A spiral is something, a spiral, I just throw it like this, a spiral works with 120 different logics. That all these logics can be applied and that all of that can come. The spiral also needs to be in exchange with many different people. So the more different people the spiral walk, the more the spiral also can create or bring up their own potential. So we need to open up a spiral at least once in a while to friends, to neighbors, you can have a spiral in your garden, but don't keep it like yours. That's mine, only I walk it. That's not the idea, because the spirals are also a tool for awakening, and we should give access to these tools to many people, not just keep them for ourselves.
And I can say that you can find again below here in the description the link to connect with our online communities, which is a place where we have dedicated a space, so a specific community where you can share and connect with people that are creating spirals, with Nandù as well, and you can ask questions. And so if you feel connected with this topic, just go to our online community if you feel so, and you can find a space to talk about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you also find an online form to request the spiral. Like if you would like to build a spiral, you just have to fill in the online form or write to the email spirals@damanhur.org. And then I will answer you and we sort it out. So you get all, because I'm like helping in the request of spirals to get everything straight before you get the final yes that then is given by Oranko. And I also organize of how you can activate your spiral if nobody is close to you that could do it, or you can't just do it yourself. And yes, that's a good one.
Thank
Everyone
you.
can apply for a spiral. And I will send you also all the information that you need to know how to do that.
Thank you, Nandù. Okay, so last question for you, Gnomo. People are asking about the connection with spirals and Selfica. If you can explain us which is the connection between these two things that we are talking about.
In some way, we can say that there is a strong connection between Selfica and spirals, and there is not at all a connection between Selfica and spirals. Okay, this was in a nutshell. Why? Because of course, there is a direct connection between these completely different dimension and these completely different species and his own dimension, and the technology we're using here, because we are talking about a technology that is using properties of those dimensions. Okay, so thanks to the connection between Spir, so this very first connection that Falco achieved with Spir, he was able to find a way to create a bridge between something, an object, a Selfica, for example, in this universe, with someone in that universe, in order to bring here effects that in that universe are very easy, and in this universe are almost
Oops. He's gone.
Gnomo has been eaten by a spiral.
In the black hole of the center of the spiral.
Exactly, Gnomo. Let's see if Gnomo will try to do a time travel and be back to us. Yes, he's here. So, Gnomo, we were saying that you have been eaten by a black hole, a spiral black hole, something like that.
yeah.
But you time travel and you're back here.
Do I have to repeat something? Yeah.
No, just a few, just the last word that you
Okay,
said.
last
Yeah.
sentence. So, in a nutshell, the connection between Selfica and the universe of Spir is a sort of a bridge to bring here a fact that in that universe are easy. I can give you an example, very simple example. For us to move a chair, it's easy. Okay, very easy. If you have not some physical problem, you can take the chair and move the chair. So to move an object on space and time. For Spir, this is almost impossible because they have not a body as we have. They are not the same relationship with this universe. For a spiral, to move an event, something that happened, it's very easy. For us to move an event, bringing closer or putting afar, it's almost impossible. We don't know how to. Okay, imagine an agreement of this. That's why there is a sort of connection, because Falco, thanks to the agreement with Spir, found a way to develop Selfica. Okay, this is the connection.
And Selfica in what is helping us right now as humanity? I mean, again, in a nutshell, because there's also this question.
Yeah, it's quite easy. Selfica is a way to amplify your own spectrum of possible events. Imagine that your spectrum of event is this one. With Selfica, it's larger, so you can be able to experience events that are almost impossible or far from you. Okay. Of course, this is a problem in terms of physics because apparently we are violating the strict relativity, but this is not true because blah blah blah. 1 hour of
Next
lesson.
meeting.
Next time.
Yeah, I would like to say something to that because while walking a spiral, I experienced many times, and also Falco and other Damanhurians tell about it, that you really get a different feeling to time. Yeah, like you can feel, you can have even the feeling like that you, because of that opening up that the spiral does, like it really opens up your time space reality. And so you can actually sometimes feel like you skipped some of the spheres, you know, suddenly you are closer to the center and say, how did I reach here? It's like something made a jump and you don't understand how. Or you feel you walk since years in this spiral and you don't reach the center. The time perception can be change very much. Also, you might have a feeling that you walk actually in front of yourself, like there is a projection of yourself in front, and you feel that you walk in front of yourself or behind yourself. Or you can feel older or younger. The time perception is really very flexible in a spiral. Or it happened to me that I walked a spiral and suddenly I got completely clear images of myself walking a spiral in a different body, in a different landscape. Like me walking a spiral in another life or in another place, in another body. And so it really gives that, it takes you out of our normal time space awareness. It amplifies it a lot. Another thing that I would like to tell, because it's just to animate people as well to experiment when they have spirals. Like I walked for over a year a spiral blind. I started very, very carefully. Nothing can happen because when you go with your feet against the stones, you know, you have to adjust a little bit. But as I did so, after about, my body like got more and more accustomed to the shape of the spiral, and it was more and more easy like not to bump into the stones and to walk the spiral slowly. And it, to a certain moment, my third eye opened and I could see with closed eye the whole spiral in all details, and I could walk it even quick. So this is a phenomena that has to do with the spiral. It really changed my whole relationship to the spirals when that happened. And
Thank you, Nandù. Thank you. So this is a profound, a deep invite to come to Damanhur or wherever in the planet it's present a spiral and to experience it. This was also one of the aim that we have with this talk. It's to bring you on board on the emotion level, on the technical level, on the esoteric level of how the spirals can open up a new universe into your life. So they are kind of true beings which we can really create a relationship with them. So to close and end our talks, I ask to you, Nyamo, and to you, Nandù, to with a sentence that you feel it can give an end to this meeting, with a message that you want to underline after all the beautiful things that we said. What will be your message to close these talks that we have done today together?
Who start?
Nyamo.
Yeah. Okay. I think that the idea to always be, in some way pushed to have friends, to have a constant connection and dialogue with different species, with different point of view, it's very important for us. We feel of enemies all around us, but this is not, I think, a very, constructive way to experience the world. We also need to have many friends. So I think this is a very nice approach to life.
Thank you, Nyamo. Nandù, what will be yours?
Yes, I would also say like not only spirals but also plants, like go to discover these other life forms that can enrich our life so much, and go into a friendship with them, really develop a friendship with them, communication, because it's very enriching. And I also think it's needed to make the next step in evolution for us and the planet.
Okay, so thank you, Nyomo, and thank you, Nandù, for these talks together. And thanks, of course, to all of you that has been participating, and to all the future people that will look to this live stream. And we'll see you next month for the next episode. And by the way, again, if you want to find all the infos to get in touch with us, in the description, you find all the information. Thank you, Nyomo, and thank you, Nandù.
Thank you
Convoy,
too.
convoy, everyone. Convoy.